Well, good morning. How are you all today? And welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Grab yourself some Stone Mont juice and let's talk about the strength of your tribe. Okay. I got to thinking about this the other day as I was reading some comments from some people that said they just weren't able to find a group, form a group, have a group. They lost a group. They've been estranged from their family or things like this. And I all those things came together, and it made me realize that how many people just don't think of tribal strength. Now, I'm not one that usually uses the word tribe. I know that it's been used a lot more in the preparedness circles lately. I think it was all, and I might be wrong on this, but the one that I'm familiar with or really started using is Joe Fox over on Viking Preparedness, and I think it's a great description. I've always referred to it simply as a circle of friends. But since most people, or more people, let me say that, are thinking about it as a way of tribe, that's why I want to address it like this. And and I think there's I can say a couple of things, several things that will help people a lot because people haven't been thinking about preparedness really long term for all that long. I mean, to be honest, except for those who lived a preparedness life, preparedness has really, you know, exploded over the last 20 years. Now, a lot of us have been in it all of our lives, and so we see things from a different perspective, and that's why I'm hoping that I'll be able to share a few things that will help people who are kind of serving or searching for that. Um, I also know that when I make these kinds of videos that are meant to help people and give advice, I get a lot of pushback. And the funny thing is, if I make a video about the end of the world or World War III is coming tomorrow or anything that's catastrophic, I mean, I will get so many views, and I mean, for me, I'm not a lot of views compared to other channels, but for me, I will get so many views, and pretty much all of them are positive. Oh yeah, it's coming. It's this and that and this and that. And when I make a video that's actually meant to help people and to give them some advice, I can't believe the pushback that I get on this, and that's too bad because the people who are, and by pushback, what I mean is excuses, excuses. Okay. Now, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I'm not big on excuses. Matter of fact, I hate excuses. I don't think there's anything more disgusting in the world than an excuse because there's a difference between a reason and an excuse. If somebody's supposed to meet me someplace at a certain time and they don't make it, there's either a reason or an excuse. Somebody ran a red light and T-boned them and they're in the hospital. That's a reason. Okay, if they've just had such a busy day and blah 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 blah. That's an excuse because they knew what time they were supposed to meet me, and they didn't, and it's because they didn't handle their time management properly. I put up one on, and so we're going to talk. Well, I'm not going to get into excuses too much, but I want to warn people that as I talk about this, a lot of people are going to say, "Well, but I can't do that because." Okay, well, then you're not going to do it, and that's too bad. This is for people who will learn from it because it's going to help you so much if you will learn from it. I just put something on the Patreon channel this morning. Every day I'll put up a thought or something like that, and this one said you can either have results or excuses, not both. That's right. So here is where you do you want results? Okay, so that's your first decision. Do you want results, or do you want to make excuses as to why you're not getting results? So that's how I would suggest getting into this. Now I'll say another thing. The things that I talk about, I do from my experience, and I always have people argue with me on that. Hey, they're not going to learn. Good. This is for people who will learn and who really want to do better. There's another saying about excuses, and that is People that make excuses are the ones who are determined to make their tomorrow the same as their yesterday. So I've already given about 3 great lessons here for the person who says, you just talked for 5 minutes and didn't say a thing. Yeah, I said a lot. And a lot of people didn't catch it. One more thing, by the way, we have a lot of new people here, and it's great to have you, and welcome. And we have a lot of new people who have already contributed so much, in the comment sections that it's good to read your comments and such as that. I'll tell you how to. This is a positive place. I'll give a couple of rules for the road here. This is a positive place, and here's a place where I share my opinion and my advice, and anybody that would like it, it's free, to listen. And anybody who doesn't, well, then don't, But let me put it this way: the comment section is not a place for arguments. Now, whether we're with other commenters or from me, and if you want to know how to tell if you might be getting close to the line, if you start off a comment with "Don't ban me," but I mean, really, come on. Did you see a clue there? You gave yourself your own clue because you clued yourself that you're about to say something that maybe you shouldn't say. And I have no problem with people who have a different opinion of mine, and I'm happy to for them to post that on their channel. Not mine. This is not a free fire zone. When I used to teach martial arts, I would teach people how to do things. It wasn't a discussion to where people would come in and say, "But I think that we should do it like this." Well, then go somewhere and do that. Okay. All right. Okay, that was a little bit that I just had to take care of because we've had a couple of problems with that. I already took care of it. How strong is your tribe, really? And what is a tribe? Now, if we look at a tribal situation, a tribe is a large group made up of. If you want to take this back to the old Celtic way or the American Indian way, a tribe is a collection of clans. Clan, coming from the Celtic, spelled with a C, not a K, which themselves are made up of families. The family is the foundational block of the clan, and then the tribe and the community. And if you're going to have a nation, then that's one thing, one step beyond. But the basis of that is the family. It makes me sad when I hear those people come on and said, well, because I just had somebody say this the other day, their kids, they're estranged from their kids. The kids grow up and move away, and they have problems, and they don't have that solidarity that a family is supposed to have. Now, I know the idea of families having solidarity is foreign to a lot of people. And here again, I want to say that if this concept that I'm going to explain is new to you, I hope it will help you. I hope it will help you because it's going to be a great help. Families nowadays split apart, whether it's from divorce or whether it's from simply the kids moving away for better jobs. And that in itself, kind of points, or the kids going away to college and being, brainwashed by their liberal professors and coming back and saying, "Mom and Dad, you're all nuts and you're all wrong and you're all part of the oppressor," and that happens all the time. But for whatever reason, the family has not been held up to be the central cohesive unit that. Well, let me put it this way: there are many families that were never like that. So I'm not going to paint with a broad brush. It's not like it used to be. 200 years ago it was all this way, and now it's not. Okay, the difference is in families and how they see themselves and how they see the individuals in it. But the family is the building, it is the foundation, it is the cornerstone of a clan or a tribe. And if the family is not right, your clan and your tribe not going to be right either, because the cohesion goes up through the whole the whole process. I was talking to well, it doesn't matter who it was. I was talking to somebody some years ago, and she told me, we raise our kids to be independent. Now, right off, people will say, well, yeah, that's right. That's right. You should raise your kids to be independent. But what she meant, and this was a mother of a young lady that worked for me. We were just having a nice discussion, and and I think her daughter was going to go off and I don't know I forget exactly what it was. She says, well, we have told them to when they get older they are to fly the coop, leave the nest, go out there and make their own way. And certainly there are a lot of people who can do that, but you see, you've taken strength away from the family. If you have uh, a couple of, a family and they raise three kids, and one of them becomes a doctor and they move to back east, and one of them becomes a lawyer and they move out west, and then another one becomes a something else. I just use doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, baker, whatever. And they move someplace else. Uh, they might make their way very, very well. They might be successful. And I'm not using, those. I mean, those are the things that some people say. One of them goes off and becomes a plumber and becomes very successful. I'm not, categorizing one job as being better than another. Uh, but they go off and so now you got one kid in New York, another kid in California, and another kid in Houston, and you live where I live in Kansas. Well, what's happened to your family? What's happened to the strength of the family? All the time I hear from people say, well, I'm worried if something happens because my family's spread out all over the country. How would they get back? Or that's exactly right. Well, they've made their friends, or they've met their spouse, and they've raised a couple of kids that they will probably raise to be independent, and they will move someplace else. So that when this is why the airports are always so busy around Thanksgiving, because everybody has to travel to get back to their family. Now that may be just right. Maybe some people don't want to hang around their family very much. I mean, there's families and there are families, right? Uh, but if the children have moved away, uh, the message, the importance of family strength, has not been taught and reinforced. And this again, here is the base. You can't. There is nothing other than the good Lord Himself that is more important to long-term safety, security, and preparedness than a cohesive, strong family. Yeah, I know I've lost a lot of people already from this because this is important stuff, not the end of the world stuff. But when the end of the world comes, you're going to want your family around you, unless it's the end of the world. You're going to want your family around you, and what's more important than that? Now, I'll give you an example. Some people are already saying, yeah, but that just can't be done for everybody. Well, they don't know you're right. It can't be done for everybody because everybody won't think of it that way, and they won't do it that way, and they won't put the importance on it that they should. I'll give you an example. Kelly and I are now, both of my parents have passed, but we only live a few miles from where my parents did, or where my mother lived with my brother. Okay, all of our siblings live within 5 miles of each other. All of them. Does that seem strange? And both of Kelly's parents live within 5 miles. And we have nephews and nieces and cousins and all sorts of things all around us within 5 miles, 10 miles. Why is that? Well, that's because both of our families were very family oriented. They didn't feel that moving away from family in order to get get a better job, Oh, well, I have to move over there to get my next step up on the ladder. I can't think, and I've had some great jobs. I've until I started realizing I didn't want a job anymore. Um, there wasn't anything that I thought was as important as being close to my family. And I know that this isn't true for a lot of people, and that's a shame. And I would ask without blaming here again. So anybody that comes on and says, well, you're lucky, you're the hey, it's not luck, it's the way you plan it. I had somebody say that to me on yesterday's. You're just lucky. Not everybody. It's not luck. It's planning. It's understanding. It's deciding, understanding what you think is important, and then structuring your life according to that. Now, many of you are beyond this point. I know that many of you have children across the country and children and grandchildren and things like that. And there's not, you can't go back and change all that. There's today's siren. You know what that means in the suburbs? It means that I'll say this all the time. It means that somebody needs help, and help is on the way. See, that's the difference in how you think. Some people might say, oh, that's something bad happening. No, it's something good happening. Something bad already happened. And something good is happening now, that whether it's firemen or ambulance, and around here that doesn't usually need police. You know something? I ought to throw something in here for everybody. I'm going to make another one on this about the truth about cities. Everybody talking about how dangerous the cities are. Do you know, in my entire life, except when I was in law enforcement, do you know how many crimes I've seen? Well, Steve, you live in the suburbs. You probably see crime all the time now. I've lived in the city and I've lived in the suburbs all of my life, except for a short stint where I lived in a small town. I've never seen one crime. I know that's shocking. I know. Now somebody will come on and say, well, there's crime everywhere. Spoken by a person who doesn't experience it. So I understand that many of you live lives that it's beyond that. Your kids have already moved away. It's exciting for you to see your kids and your grandkids when they come home occasionally. And hey, if that's right for you, God bless you. But for those who are thinking about really strengthening your tribe, and let me throw in, what is a tribe? Well, a tribe is a group of, like I started to say, clans, families, whatever, with a common belief system, a common culture, and for the most part, a common history. Now, many of the, we can leave it that, a common history. And this is why I don't believe in mags or groups or things like this put together specifically for the reason of preparedness, is because you get people without commonality of those. They don't necessarily have the same belief systems. They don't necessarily have the same history. They don't have the same culture. And when you start bringing those things together, what's happened with America is the perfect example of why that doesn't work. You start in bringing together too many people with different ways of looking at things. You have sowed the seeds of problems. That's why the family is so important. So really, who I'm speaking to here is to the younger people, I suppose. And it is, because I stress this with my kids. I jokingly tell them, you're not allowed to move away. But they know that that's a joke. But what I want to do is to build a life, to build a family that they won't want to move away, and they won't need to move away. Now, let me address a couple of questions here that I know are going to be coming in the comments. And that is, well, not everybody can do it. Excuse. See, you're determined that your future is going to be the same as your past. You're saying that you're not able to construct a positive life situation for your future and your family. It is possible for everybody if you want it. Now, it's not possible if you don't want it and think that you can't do it. That's the difference. Okay. Now, when I say that, and I said before, we raise our kids to be independent. Probably a lot of people said, well, that's exactly right. Well, yes, I raised my kids. Matter of fact, I just had a big talk with all of them the other day. You believe it? That we sit down and we talk, and I explain exactly why I do the things I do, and how it's going to affect the future and the history of our family. And and I use as an example our families. Like I talked to you, all of us live within a few miles, and we have a vast array of skills. Okay, Kelly's family was more in the trades. My family was more in business. Between all of us, it's just you have the gamut of skills and knowledge base. That's important. Not everybody should be a carpenter. Not everybody should be a plumber. Not everybody should be a writer. Not everybody should be law enforcement. Not everybody should be a fireman. When you bring together a group, you have a disparate array of skills. That's a good, strong family. That's a good, strong building block of a clan. That's a good, strong building block of a tribe. And so when I explained this to my kids, I said, you should. Here's the difference between independence and separate. Okay, I raise my kids. We raise our kids to be independent, in that if they had to, they can survive very well on their own. Very well. I don't raise them to be separate. I don't raise them to want to be separate. I don't say, okay, now you're 18 or 20 or 21, whatever the magic number may be for different people. Now go out and make it on your own. You see, because that's kind of a poor man's view of things. I made it on my own, so you can make it on your own. It'll make a man of you. It'll put hair on your chest. Even the daughters. No, that's starting over from the beginning. That's a poor man's way of doing things. Now, I've said this before. People get all upset about this when I use the rich as an example of how to be successful. You know why? Because they're successful. Well, not everybody can be rich. Well, you can if you want to. Did you know that? Did you know that you could be rich if you want? If that's what's important to you, you can be rich. You can have a good family if you raise them right. Okay, it's like you can have a good garden if you put in the work. But if you don't, not going to happen. But I use the rich as an example. They don't raise their kids to be independent. They raise their kids to be another important part of the family. And then the extended, the circle of friends, the clan, the tribe, the whatever. You think rich people don't have tribes? They do. They do. So yeah, we raise our kids to be independent, meaning, and I put this in my books. If you've read my books, I haven't mentioned my books. I write books. Did you know that? If you're new, I wrote the Stone Mount series. It's a great series, by the way. I didn't bring them out here because I'm just kind of relaxing this morning. But you can get my books. The links are down below. And I explain that. For instance, when Jim gets shot, he acts like he can't function because he wants to see how everybody will do without him leading. That's essentially what we raise our kids for, and I go through it with them. If I'm not here, what are you going to do? Here's how you do. Here's the things you need to understand. Here's why I do things. Here's why you should do things. Family first. Completely. And I'll tell you, there is nothing that can destroy a family more, or the family cohesion more, than the father or the mother, I'll be honest, being away and I've said this to friends of mine who did a lot of time in the military. Uh, so often, those families, when dad's done with the military, or mom, and I just hate it when it's the mother who's gone. But you don't come back to the same family you left. And you guys know, I'm speaking for someone who did not do that, but have seen it over and over and over and over again. You don't have that family cohesion. So my whole point is how strong is your tribe? Your tribe is going to be as strong as you make it. It doesn't just happen. Your garden doesn't just happen. You don't just go out there and say, gosh, I hope some tomatoes spring up in my backyard or in the South 40 this year. No, you plant it, you nourish it, you trim it, you prune it, you pull the weeds, you keep the pests out of there. And if you do all those things, you're going to have a good harvest. You water it. You don't leave it up to the world to water. That just came to me. That's a good example. What if it, I've used my garden as kind of a test. And I wanted to see several years ago, okay, how well would a garden do if you didn't water it? You just left it up to nature. You know what? It doesn't do worth a darn. Not around here. Not in eastern Kansas. Now, it might do well in Louisiana, I don't know, or Florida. You get enough rain every day. But it doesn't do well around here. You have to water it. And that's what raising kids is about. And that's what building a family is about. You have to put in the work every day in order to get the product that you want. And if you don't put in the work every day, you're not going to get a cohesive, strong, intergenerational family. If you do, you probably will. And excuses, I tell you, excuses they suck even when it's about why you're late somewhere. But if it's about your family, oh man, it's beyond suck. You have failed in your primary responsibility. So think about that. How strong, and here again, I know there are a lot of you who are already older, your kids have moved away for whatever reason. Maybe you weren't thinking about this. Maybe you weren't thinking about it. I come from a family who has thought about this for generations. The family is it. And if you read my books, again, I talk about every one of those strong groups that you read about in my books is family. It starts with family. And then the ripples come out into family, and then into friends, and then to associates, and then people that we know, and everything like that. But if you don't have the hub of the family, you're not going to have much of anything. And I know this message is going to be lost on many, many people. And that's too bad. But it'll mean something to some of you. And if it does, then that's great. Because this message is getting out to a few people who will take it to heart, think about it, and actually apply it, and end up having strong intergenerational families, which is, like I say, next to the good Lord himself. It is your next most important. A meadowlark just landed on the chair opposite. He's looking at me. The meadowlark is the state bird of Kansas. Anyway, there you go. Next to the good Lord himself, strong family is the most important thing you can have in your preparedness arsenal. The Bible says, like arrows in the quiver of a mighty man, or a warrior in some translations, are the children of a man's youth. Your children are God's gift and your responsibility, and they are one of the most important things. in your life and in the safety and security of your future generations. So if you're of the age to where this is, you can have an effect on this, I hope you will. If you're beyond that age, I hope that things work out. I hope that maybe you're somehow able to improve things. And for all of those who have some problem with their children or estranged, I'm sorry. You know, I'll say a prayer, a general prayer, and you do too. Try to make things right. Try to change it from wrong to right. But think about this: how strong is your tribe? The next step back is how strong is your clan, which is a group of families, and then back it up to the basic: how strong is your family? All right. You all have a good day. I feel like I want to make one on excuses. I don't know if I will or not. I have a lot to do today. But remember, as I say, by the way, don't forget the Integrated Preparedness Stonemont Get Together. The gathering is July 13th. If you want to come over to the stonemont.us website, and you can register there. It's going to be in Lenexa, Kansas. It's going to be a great time. It doesn't cost anything. We just need you to register so we know how many people are going to be there. And all my books are listed down below on how to get them either through Amazon or again through our website. And remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And your family is your most important preference. Build it right, build it strong, so that your future generations will have the safety and security they deserve. Okay? You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.